Hello beauties, welcome to today's training. I'll be teaching you how to make this wonderful design. Please subscribe to my channel. These are the materials that will be used for this training. This is a shiny fabric, but it is not stretchy. Both sides are not stretchy. It's just a fabric that I got in the market, and the length is 24 inches length by 25 inches width. 24 inches length by 25 inches width. 24 inches length by 25 inches width. Same measurement goes for the lining. I'll be using this for the turban cap base. Then these two pieces, these two tiny small pieces, they are for the handle. It measures 13 inches length by 7 inches width. I said 13 inches length by 7 inches width. So both are same measurement. So for this turban cap base, I had to double the material. The reason is because it's a bit transparent. That's why I'm attaching this lining. So I'll be joining it and place the lining in the front of the fabric, as I'm just doing now. This is how you will sew. So you sew this part, sew the left and right, and also the under, but you will leave just a little bit opening where you will turn it up. Alright, if you watch closely, you'll see that I'm done sewing. I did my sewing all round, but I left a small opening there where I will turn out the fabric. I'm bringing out the front now. And please take note, that part I left the opening is where I measured out 24 inches. Don't know if you get me. The part I measured 24 inches, that is where I left that opening. Because it will be down, it will serve as the down part of your turban base. So when sewing yours, ensure that the part that you leave that opening is that part you measured 24 inches. So I'm using this object to bring out the edges of my fabric. So I'm trying to bring it out so everything will pop out neatly. So next thing I did is to take it to my iron, and I ironed it out before closing this place up. Please, if you have light in your area, do your ironing here. When you are done with ironing, then you close up this point, fold it in this way. Watch what I'm doing. You fold it up this way and sew on top. Yeah, I'm done sewing and everything is very okay now. I can see that. The next thing is to start forming my pleat. Please don't form your pleat from that place you did your sewing. That's why I told you that place will serve as the bottom. So don't sew from that point. The first thing to do is to form your pleat, and that's what I'm doing now. I just pick like 1 inch of this fabric and I fold it this way. Please pay close attention to whatever I'm doing here. Just fold it down. You can use your pin to tack it down. After tacking with your pin, if you can sew without holding with your pin, it's still okay. You mustn't pin it down. Then I will sew down this way. I've done mine. You can see how it looks. Yes, next thing is to form our second pleat. When you are forming your second pleat, please ensure that you cover that seam part. That your stitch, close it up with that pleat. It's not to be seen. Don't know if you get me. So as you have pleating, ensure that that pleat covers that thread. It's not supposed to be seen. Alright, just pick little, not so much, little of the fabric, and you form your pleat. So after pinning down, you take it to your sewing machine and sew down. Please take your hand down as you sew. Then after sewing the second one, you also do another pleat and sew the third one. The number of pleats I want to get on this fabric is 4. So why working on the third pleat, make sure that it covers the second stitch. Also, while working on the fourth pleat, make sure it covers the third stitch. So right now I've gotten my 4 pleats, you can see it, and none of the stitches are showing. So what you do now is you sew down here and sew the other part. You can see, just sew that part. I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew those 2 edges. Then after sewing there, the right side will face each other. Please watch what I'm doing very closely. The right side facing each other. I'll take my pin to hold the top part. That top part, I will use my pin to hold it down so it doesn't move. The reason for that is we need our pleats to be equal. We need that front part to be equal. So after holding it down with my pin, I'll take my measuring tape to measure the bottom side of your cap base. Take my measuring tape to measure out where we give me the curve. And the measurement I'll be using here is 3 inches. I'll be using 3 inches. So I just place my tape there and mark it out. Then with that mark, I'll give it a curve. I'll give it a curve upwards. Please, if you don't want your turban cap base to be long, you can measure out like 4 inches or 5 inches, so the curve will be deep. But I just want mine to be long, that's why I'm using 3 inches. After forming this curve, I'll use my scissors to cut it out. So I'm using my scissors to cut it out now. Ensure that you cut from that place you marked out. And after that, I will sew from this point. Please watch closely. From this point I'm touching now, here, I will sew it down to this bottom. From that point down to the bottom. Alright, see the outcome. I'm done sewing. Can you see it? I'm done sewing. You can use your weaving machine to hem the edges of that place you did your cut. Then you can see how it looks. Mine is long. You can make yours to be short if you want, or you can also add extra 1 pleat if you want, but I'm okay with mine this way. So next thing we'll be doing is to work with our handle. This is the handle that will be attached to this base, which we use to wrap it up. So I'll just fold it into 2 this way. Watch what I'm doing. We'll fold it into 2 this way and pin down. This handle serves as the tie. That is what we use for tying this cap base to your head. And remember, it measures 13 inches length by 7 inches width. So I'll place the both fabric on each other this way, and I'll slant my hand and cut it out. Just slant my hand and do the cutting. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing. So I will cut it off. Then take this to my sewing machine and sew. You can see how it looks now. So I will sew it down from this point. Can you see? I will sew from this point down. Alright, so I've done the sewing and I did it for both fabric. So I'll just cut out the excess. Cut it out, the excess, and I'll use my lighter to hem the mouth. You know, this fabric is a built silky, so it pulls off. So I want to use this lighter to make the mouth not to be pulling off. I'll do same thing to the other fabric. So I'm done doing that. What I want to do now is to unfold. I want to turn it out, so I will attach this to my cap base. So you unfold it and do same thing to the other fabric. Use an object and make the edge to come out well. My next thing to do is to fold. Please, I'm trying to lock up this part with sewing machine, so fold it in the way I'm just doing. You can see what I'm doing. Take some parts in, then take it to my sewing machine and sew. Then after sewing, I will take it to my cap base and attach from this point. Watch what I'm doing. I will attach from this point. You can use your pins to tack it down before sewing. Don't know if you get me. So place it exactly the way I'm placing it on your cap base. Then you tack down. From this point, I'll do my sewing. Make sure that it comes to the front, to the edge of that cap base. It has its own work. While attaching, make it to come to the front of the cap base, so it will be able to drag the cap while wrapping it round. So I'll do same thing to this handle. Yeah, I'm through with it. You can see how it looks. So I've done my stitching with my sewing machine, and this is how you wrap it around your dummy or your head. Alright, next thing to do is if you've hemmed with your serger or weaving machine this edge, and you now form your pleats. You can form your gathers down here. You know how to do your gathers. So I'm done with my, you can see our cap is ready. We'll be moving over to the design. So over to the design, and to get that round pleat or round frame on top of the turban cap base, and we'll be using a scuba material, scuba or foam poly. We call this material scuba or foam poly. So I'll be using this material to form it, and if yours didn't reach the length, you can cut and join. The length measures 106 inches length by 6 inches width. 106 inches length by 6 inches width. That's why I told you, if yours don't reach like mine, you cut out and join. Then the fabric measures same thing. It measures 106 inches length by 6.5 inches width. 106 by 6.5. So I've done my joining. I've joined my scuba. You can see it. One thing I want to do now is to wrap this scuba inside the fabric. I want to put the scuba into the fabric, and this is the method I'll be using. You place both. Remember I told you that the scuba measures 106 by 6, while the fabric measures 106 by 6.5. So I'll fold it this way. Please watch closely. I'll fold it this way and fold this up part down. Don't know if you get me. I'll fold both together and stitch. If it's difficult for you, please use your pin to tack down before sewing with your sewing machine. Okay? So this is what I do, and I'll tack it down. This is the method I will use, and I'll tack it down. Or you open it up, sew down these edges, as in tack it down with your sewing machine, then come back and fold. Choose any method. Yeah, I've folded the fabric round. You can see the way it is. Can you see it? That foam poly or scuba makes it to be puffy. It's added weight to this material. So I'll take this to my iron and iron it down. So I'm done with ironing, and want to attach it to this base. Please watch closely. I'll slant my hand from this point. Don't tack on top of that wrap. Don't tack on top of it. Slant your hand this way and attach to your cap base. And after that, I'll take it to my sewing machine. Once I take it to my sewing machine, I'll tack this point. That's where I will tack. Please don't tack the wrap. Yeah, alright, I'm done tacking. Next thing to do is to wrap it round. Remove your pins, then keep this on your dummy head. I will advise you to place on someone's head or dummy head, then wrap round this way. Wrap round this way. Use a dummy head or someone's head to get a good curve. So I'm done with wrapping. Please, I used my turban lift here. That's why it's firm. I put turban lift inside there. So next thing to do is to start tacking. But remember that that time it was on someone's head or on a dummy head. Use your long needle or your pin to hold it firm, not with needle and thread. Just use your needle or your pin to hold the wrap to the turban base. Alright, here I've tacked mine with my needle and thread. What I did here was, the time I pulled it out from the dummy head, remember that I used a long needle to hold this frame to the cap base. I now pulled out from my dummy head. Next thing I did is to use my needle and thread to tack. You understand? To tack. I use it to tack. I didn't tack the back. Please see how the back is. I didn't tack here. So I just tacked the side, the two sides, the upper part, and I also tacked the middle. That's where I just tacked. So do a neat stitching here. So over to the ruffle design. That ruffle design that's attached to the frame. The ruffle design is quite long, and the length is 120 inches length by 8 inches width. 120 inches length by 8 inches width. So what I will do is I'll fold it this way and sew down. Fold it the right side facing each other, and I will sew down to where it stops. Please, once you are done stitching, don't forget to hem the mouth of your fabric. So the next thing I want to start doing is my running stitch. I want to form my pleats. So from that point where I hemmed, I will sew the down part that I sew, not the part that is very smooth. Where you will sew is the edge where you hemmed down to the part where you sew. So you pick your pleat, small, not too big, not too small. It will just be in between, that is medium stitching. So you do your running stitch down. You continue to run it, form your pleats, you sew up, come down. That's how you do your running stitch till you get to where this fabric stops. So you can see how it has formed. Yeah, please, if you want your ruffle to be smaller than this, you can measure your width to be 6 inches or 4 inches, because mine is 8. That's why it's very full. All right, so you fold into 2 this way. You continue to adjust it, please. You continue to adjust. Don't cut out your thread here. Just fold into 2 first. Then you get your turban cap base. You get that turban cap and place this ruffle there. Place from the middle to the bottom. When you place it there and it doesn't reach, bring it down and adjust. That's why I say you shouldn't cut your thread. Adjust till you get that desired length that will cover the middle to the back. Don't even get me. So you continue to adjust it till you get that desired length that will cover the middle of the cap base to the back. Once you're through with it, you can cut out your needle and form your knot. So I've formed the knot, my own knot, and I'm cutting out the excess. Alright, next thing to do is to adjust. Just loosen up small. Adjust it, then also fold into 2. Then firstly I will use my pin, my long needle or pin, to hold that place down. Watch what I'm doing. I'll just hold it down with this pin. Just take one pin or a long needle and hold it down before tacking with your needle and thread. So the next thing to do is to hold the bottom of the plate. You fold it in 2 the way I'm doing now. Fold it and hold both sides together. Then use your needle and thread to tack down. I'm trying to tack down the ruffle. You know, that's what makes the plate to come out. So I'm trying to tack down the bottom of it. And once I'm through and I ensure that I've tacked down from that place the pin is, I will then remove the pin. Once I remove the pin, I'll continue to sew down. Please, while stitching, ensure that you stitch firmly. So once I'm done stitching, I'll sew it down to where this ends, and I'll cut out my needle with my I'll cut out my thread with my scissors, and I'll show you. Alright, so this is mine. You can see it. I'm done with my ruffle, and next thing is to attach this ruffle to the turban cap base. I'm trying to bring out that puffy part. So this is what you will do. Don't know, you can do this after attaching, or you can do it now before attaching. So you continue to drag it out, and that puffy and ruffle will show well. So next thing I'm doing now is I'll attach this from the center. Don't forget, locate your center and to the back. That's the beauty. So I'll place this like this. You can see it from the center. I'll use my needle and thread. First of all, I'll use my pin to tack it down. Can you see what I'm doing? Use your pin to hold it down. Then after doing that, you now use your needle and thread to tack the ruffle down to this turban cap, and that is it. Don't forget that if you want your ruffle to be smaller, reduce the width. The width of my own is 8 inches width, so you can reduce yours to 6 inches or to 4 inches. It all depends on you. So this is the end of this training, and thank you for joining. See you next time. Also, if you've watched this level, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share and like. See you next time.